Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope y'all are doing all right today. I'm doing fine. So today's video is going to be, hold up. All right, I went through some trouble to do this hair, so make sure y'all see it all. Today's video is Rotten Tomatoes. I told y'all I was gonna be bringing this segment back now that I've had time to watch more TV. And today's show is going to be InuYasha, the original version, and then also the final act. So with that being said, do I have anything I really need to preface? If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, share it, like it, favorite it, all that, and comment. If there's any shows y'all want me to review, comment down below and I'll get to them when I can. And yeah, hopefully I can get you subscribed by the end of this video. And if you don't like this video, go check out some other ones. You never know. You never know. All right. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into this. All right. So the first episode, actually, real quick, don't forget that Fuego. Go cop your Fuego merch. 30% off. Description box down below. And this is one of the shirts. So definitely go check that out. The code is class2020 to get 30% off. And then COVID-19 gets you free shipping. Alright. So at any rate, starting off on my thoughts on InuYasha. I have notes. So this gonna be a hot second. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna try to keep it at least no more than 30. But let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so the first episode flowed so well, of the first series in particular. I don't know. I just really liked how it flowed. It kind of just showed, like, if you had told me I was going to be watching a show about this girl who was a high schooler who fell through a well, and now she's in the feudal era, then you got to tell, but first I'm going to be thinking, what the fuck is the feudal era? The fuck? That sounds like a disease or some shit. Or a plague. And then I'm like, and then you're like, oh yeah, and there's this cat demon, and you know what I'm saying? For all the shock value of the initial plot of the show, like if you just told somebody that, they tied it in well. I liked the first episode. I also want to say the show made me feel, and not many shows do that. So, bravo, Rumiko Takahashi. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Bravo. And when I say feel, I mean cried. And I'm talking about, like, I be sitting there and be like, bitch, you a real nigga. Wipe the motherfucking tears. Why the fuck you crying, nigga? Oh my God. I be like crying, laughing out loud. We're gonna get to the funniest episode, I thought, later on. Well, I think it's for the final act. I'm not sure about InuYasha. Well, even though it's kind of all one-on-one. But at any rate. I also like how Kagome was able and to be open with her family about the situation and later on her friends. And I also think the back and forth between InuYasha and the grandpa is comical. It's really funny. The back and forth interactions with them. But I like how she was able to be open and honest with them. I thought it would have been kind of too much if she would have had to, you know what I'm saying, keep it all a secret forever. So yeah, I did like that. Next, the necklace Kaede bestowed to InuYasha was a priceless add-in to the series. Like it, once you watch the show long enough, you can almost tell by Kagome's tone when she's about to hit him with the stick boy, and it added for comedic relief. It was really, really funny, and I think it was necessary, because I think after in the final act, they kind of rounded InuYasha up a little bit more. He was a bit more nicer. He wasn't so damn rude. But yeah, I like that addition to the series. Yeah, I have it put right here. If you pay attention closely, you can predict the sit boys.
I don't get it.
Sit, boy.
Huh? Up the well for good. Then you won't be able to escape to that strange era of yours. Good riddance.
Sit.
Huh?
Sit.
name is my nightmare. Young and pretty? No, I don't see anyone like that around here.
He will never learn.
Hey, you're getting pretty stretchy there, Jockin.
Cut it out, InuYasha! Sit, boy!
I can't feel my leg.
All right, next bulletin. I also love the ensemble as far as the group, and InuYasha's crude behaviors make for a good comedic relief, even against the unofficial members such as Koga, Miyoga, and even later on Sesshomaru in the final act. I wouldn't say they necessarily officially teamed up, but they you know what I'm saying, helped each other. So at any rate, next bulletin point. Now, one thing that annoyed me was the whole sword beef. I'm not gonna lie, the sword shit was annoying as fuck. I really wish the shit that they did in the final act, I wish they had tied that over in the original version first. And maybe they didn't think about it then. You know what I'm saying? Because I know, to my knowledge, Takahashi she didn't want to continue, if it's her specifically that I'm talking about, she didn't want to continue, it was creative differences, and she did not want to continue the show with whoever at the time. And that just caused the need, you know what I'm saying? They left off, they didn't even cue it in, like, you know what I'm saying? Oh, this possibly could have been an ending. Like, no, you could tell they just left it off there. But nonetheless, I wish the whole sword situation that happened with Sesshomaru and InuYasha, I wish that could have been, you know what I'm saying, alleviated in the first version. Just me personally, it dragged on too long. And then it went from it seemed petty at first. You know what I'm saying? If they approached it like, oh, there's some purpose here, there's a storyline behind the swords, then maybe I could have, you know what I'm saying, it wouldn't have annoyed me as much. You know what I'm saying? Because by the final act, by that point, I was like, okay, so the sword was meant to be one always. And, you know, Sesshomaru has his new... So by then, I was no longer annoyed. So maybe they should have, you know what I'm saying, made it look like more than... Because it just came off as a petty back and forth in between Sesshomaru and InuYasha to me. All right. Let's see. Another thing that was annoying was the amount of InuYasha save us. Now, I understand, in regards to Kagome specifically, I understand there is patriarchy within most animes, so I understand it, but at the same time, like, I even called my neighbor, because we're both anime heads. I called her and I was like, okay, so do they ever start powering up and being able to handle themselves? Because InuYasha cannot forever save the damn day. And I will say throughout the series, and definitely in the final act, they all, you know what I'm saying, bossed up in their own ways. I wish they had done that sooner in the original version, because it was a little bit too much, you know what I'm saying, dependence upon him. Just my personal opinion. And I will say, like, they advanced. In the final act, they did advance, you know, with the upgrades to, with the upgrades to Sango's, you know what I'm saying, bow. And, well, Moroku, he still had the damn wind tunnel. I needed him to have another attack other than the fucking wind tunnel. Because that shit right there, especially when the bugs came out, that wasn't... they could have been a little bit more, especially, and then all of them needed more attacks. Like, and it didn't need to be necessarily something that they had to announce. I felt like that just, to me, that was a bit annoying. Over time, I got used to it, but that was a bit annoying too. Hiraiko's, and I thought she was saying, here I go. I was going to say, why does... Because, and then even one time, the caption said, here I go, but then it fixed it so. So at any rate, that was just another thought I had. Let's see. Key character annoyances, in my opinion. Naraku, Kagome, Moroku. Shippo talks too much. He talked way too damn much.
Hush! You talk too much. Oh, girl, you never shut up. Goddamn.
I felt like the tie-in for Naraku kind of could have been a little better. Once I finished, I wrote that note before I finished the final act. Once I finished it, it kind of circled all the way around. But it's still, the tie-in could have been just a little better. Overall, with the ending, I was pleased with, but I felt like the tie-in of Naraku could have been a little better. Moroku in that damn wind tunnel. That was annoying as fuck. Kagome, which she did start bossing up in the final act, you know what I'm saying? And throughout the, you know, original version, I will say that she, you know what I'm saying, she'll get a little brave here and there. But that brave gotta match your actions. So like let's see. Acknowledgeable character arcs, InuYasha, Kikyo, and Sesshomaru. I think those kind of all explain themselves, how they changed and molded over the original, you know what I'm saying, series, and also in the final act. I think Kikyo became a little more softer, not by much, but a little bit more softer. Well, actually, no. In comparison to when she first was resurrected. There we go. Shit. When she was first resurrected, oh, she was a cold ass bitch. So cold-hearted hoe. But she soon after softened up, and I feel like in the final act, excuse me, her dependence upon Kagome definitely showed certain type of maturity. I have this as a note later on, but I just want to make it, I'm going to say it now. Kagome and Kikyo make sister wives look like goals. I ain't even going. I'm sorry. Let me stop. Oh my God. And then in InuYasha, like I said earlier, he definitely softened up towards the final act. He was a bit more nicer. And then Sesshomaru, I think having that human around definitely softened him as well. So I think those were acknowledgeable character arcs. My next bulletin point, Miyoga be gone like Medea in that KKK meeting on the movie. I can't remember which one it was. But he be gone. Next point, Kilala may be a cat, but she's a bad bitch. Look, don't stun on Kilala. Don't. Next bulletin point. Naraku is the ultimate villain. Again, bravo, Remuki, Takahashi. I'm just gonna say Takahashi. Save syllables. And not to mention the ultimate mastermind. Like anything you could have thought of, he thought of. And sometimes when shows create villains like this, it gets kind of ridiculous. And at some points during this show, it did. But it always tied in. You know what I'm saying? So, shout out again. Bravo, Takahashi. She did that. Next bulletin point. I also want to say the balance between the feudal era and the present was excellently balanced. Now, the amount of absences on the other hand, girl, you know this is a TV show because her ass would have been kicked the fuck out of school. CPS would have been called. All right, so that pretty much ties in the original version. 12 minutes. We're doing good so far. Next, I'm going to talk about the final act. All right. Now, I first want to thank the cast and creators for providing us with closure. Like, I feel like that's very, very good. Because I was hurt as fuck when I was like, oh, this is the end? Shit. And I did end up looking up the show for some reason. So, and you know when you Google one question, 5 other questions come up. So, I did see, did they ever have an ending? Something like that. And that ended me to know, you know, or that prompted me to click it. And so, I did end up knowing, you know, I didn't get to season 7 and be like, what the fuck? Because I already knew. But I do want to thank the cast and creators for providing us with closure. And rest in peace to my niggas, Kagura and Kikyo. We're going to pour one out for y'all. My drink is over there, but symbolically, rest in peace. All right. That was not the Black Power fist. That's just kind of my fist. I didn't want to do that. But at any rate, next bulletin point. The first episode of this series, however, for me, it did not flow smoothly. I didn't like it at all. And I know once you take a hiatus from a show, especially 9 years, I believe, or somewhere around that chain, it's almost pretty much a decade in between a show and come back and try to reboot it. You know, you're going to hit and miss some stuff. It's natural. You know what I'm saying? That's a logical explanation. Not everything's going to be the same. Even the graphics are not going to be the same. You know, graphics changed within, you know, that almost decade-long period. So I understand that, but it just didn't tie in smoothly for me. Next bulletin point, I want to say the voice changes were evident, but over time they became bearable. Apparently David K and Monica Story backed out of the reboot. I can't remember the reasons why. Also, Moriyamaru's voice aggravated my soul. I hated his voice. And if I recall, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but if I recall, in the original version, Moriyamaru was just like very much born before they stopped, you know, the show. He didn't talk, if I'm not mistaken. But if he did talk, I know it wasn't that same voice, because that voice was annoying as fuck. But when I looked it up, the only people who had voice changes were Kagome and Sesshomaru. Now Sesshomaru's, I had to, when I was Googling the voice change for Kagome, because it didn't sit right with me. I know it had been 9 years, so I was like, okay, maybe her voice changed. Nah, it didn't feel like it. So Sesshomaru's, I thought maybe his voice just changed within those 9 years. So when I had looked it up and found out, oh, well, that's not Sesshomaru, and that's not Kagome. It made sense with Kagome, definitely. As far as Sesshomaru, I was like, oh, okay. Like, David K is a pretty much, no, whoever replaced him, I don't have their names down, but whoever replaced David K for the voice of Sesshomaru was a pretty decent match. I just felt like the voice was deeper. That was it. And, I mean, you could naturally think that within 9 years, somebody's voice gonna get deeper. Kagome's voice, it was aggravating at first. It became less aggravating. However, once I went back and watched scenes from the original, it was like, no. Because towards the final act, you just get used to it. So you're like, okay, maybe they don't sound that different, right? Nah. Soon as I went back to the original, I already knew. But like I said, over time, it became bearable. Next bulletin point. Out of both the series, episode 3 of the final act takes the cake for the funniest episode, in my opinion. Like, Petty always wins. Petty, I could rewatch that again. You know what I'm saying? I don't foresee myself, because I'm so busy. Like, now I'm on Bleach, and I'm watching other shows. So, but I could go back and watch episode 3 of the final act, where, God damn, this is sad. Shippo, there we go. Shippo was trying to pass his demon exam, so he kept pulling pranks on InuYasha. That shit was hilarious. And then I think the little roach-looking bug made it worse. But, and that brings me to another point. I do feel like this series, both series, had a lot of fill-in episodes that I don't think were necessary. But I also feel like it kind of kept the real-time feel going. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can't just see Naroku every damn episode. And I do feel like the original series kind of did that a little too much. I do feel like the final act kind of got a little better with that. Like, we see Naroku every 3 or 4 episodes. And that's just not realistic. Like, if he's a mastermind, he's going to need time to plan, plot, and do all that stuff. And also, we don't want to see this bitch pop up on the screen all the time. Every once in a while, I want Moroku's wind tunnel to be able to work without them bugs popping up. Speaking of the devil, next bulletin point, Moroku and that damn wind tunnel still ain't learned. It's been a whole decade and that hoe still ain't learned. And I don't agree with the, I didn't think that it was smart for him to do the whole poison thing, because it's kind of like just sweeping shit under the rug. You know what I'm saying? But as long as towards the end, he could tell, like, I didn't know the wind tunnel would start making noises when it was like, okay, bitch, you need to stop or you're going to get swallowed by this. So that little part helped, but I still don't think it, like the poison thing necessarily, I guess it helped. I don't know. Let me know down below how y'all feel about that. I had mixed feelings about that. Next bulletin point, character arcs. Moroku has really matured. I think he only grabbed Sango's ass like maybe no more than 10 times during the final act. I was so proud of him. And now I know what the word lecherous means. It hits different, lecherous and pervert. Like, it's kind of like the difference between calling somebody a slut and, or, well, I don't know if slut and scallywag are the same thing, but a scallywag, like, you know, if somebody call you that, you know what I'm saying? People cuss all the time now, so it's nothing to be like, you hoe, you bitch. But if somebody call you a scallywag, smut. You know what I'm saying? That'll hit different. Next character arc. So Shomaru really has come around to being halfway decent in the end. And we can't forget Kagura again. Rest in peace. That hurt. I think that was the most I cried when Kagura died. I'm not even gonna lie. Because I started seeing in the original, I was like, she's gonna have a character turn around. Because I already knew that the original version finished, but I ended up seeing the final act in my recommended, because of course I'm watching InuYasha. So of course the second version of it is going to be, or the closing version of it is going to be in my recommended. So I was like, I already know she's going to turn around, but it's going to be too late. Next bulletin point. The upgrades on all the weapons would have been much appreciated 3 or 4 seasons ago. Like I said, I just feel like the OG version just kind of dragged a little too much for me. My personal opinion. The next bulletin point is about Kikyo and Kagome, the sister wives. Next bulletin point. I want to say that the few times it did happen, it was nice to see the brothers fight collaboratively. And I said collaboratively because when you're working on a project collaboratively, you can have different goals in mind. It doesn't have to necessarily be about saving the other. And I still don't feel, although I feel like having the human girl around, I have to say that because I can't remember her. Rin, there we go. Sorry, I'm bad with names. But I do feel like having Rin around softens the Shomaru, but I feel like it just softens the Shomaru for Rin. Like everybody else still kind of had to deal with the semi-same asshole. Well, I don't know if I really call him an asshole, actually. The only one he was really an asshole to was InuYasha. Everybody else stayed out of his way. He pretty much stayed out of your way for the most part. He was a bit abrasive in the first version, but yeah. Next bulletin point. Kagome has gotten really powerful. And I have to bring that up because, I brought up the fact that, Save Me InuYasha was getting on my fucking nerves. But she's really gotten powerful. To see her following Kikyo's footsteps in the ending, it was cool. You know what I'm saying? I was like, as far as I was concerned, she graduated college. She's going off to do what she wants to do. So, fight the demons, girl. All right. So, now it's time for my final rating. Alright, you guys, so that is my final rating. Y'all let me know what y'all thought about the show. Let me know if you could give them a personal rating of your own, what you would think. And yeah, I will get back to y'all on the next video. Is there anything else I need to say? Nope. Leave a like, comment down below. Leave a cat emoji if you made it all the way to the ending. And yeah, I will see y'all on the next video. Peace.